Hello guys, welcome to Charity's Bubble. I'm going to work once again. I hope that you're doing fine. I'm doing very well. I am going to work. Very nice day. You see if all my mirrors are closed because I can feel the wind. Oh yeah, there. Oh, stop, there. Come on, there, that's better. Trying to get it together here, guys. So I hope you're doing fine. Look at the grass, it's coming out. It is coming. I'm telling you, in a month's time it's gonna be looking fabulous. It's really gonna be looking fabulous. Like I said, we are in spring. I want to talk about life here, and I want to talk about life here in relation to people who let me know that they would like to come. They want me to send them, like to help them to come here in the US. That's what I want to talk about. But before that, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. My name is Charity Nganga. This is Charity's Bubble USA, your number one channel. So subscribe, share with your friends, and that's how we roll. I'm gonna turn the camera. I like to talk when my camera picking up stuff. Look at those trees. They look so beautiful. They look very beautiful. I just love the nature, I love the nature. I love the way, like, nature has its own way of rebuilding itself. You know what I mean? And sometimes I look at nature, I'm like, that's how even as humans we should like behave. Because you find that sometimes when you look at this side, look at the trees are very dry. Look at the other side, they are budding up, So I would say, like, when you're very down, always look for a way for you to come back, so the plants, everything is making a comeback at the moment. And I never get discouraged in whatever that I am doing. I do not get discouraged. And that's that's what like you should have when you're running this life, because this life is very difficult. This life can be hard, it can be challenging. But if you think about nature, and you think about the way that nature is able to evolve, there is these different seasons, and every time you can see the beauty in it. There is beauty in winter, there is beauty in summer, there is beauty in fall, there is beauty in summer, like all those seasons, you find that you would be able to maneuver your life very well. So I want to talk about invitation, and I want to talk about helping people to come here in the US. That's what I want to talk about, because it's a good country to come here, but at the same time it is one of the most frustrating things that you can encounter, or you can go through, especially if you want to come through a different type of way. Like I tell you, and that's why I started my YouTube channel, is that we came with a DV lottery, and a DV lottery is very different. And there are some people who have come in as students, and they have found their way of settling and legalizing themselves. There are other people who come in as visitors, and they have found a way of legalizing themselves, which is okay. And some of them, it has been so difficult, a very difficult road for them to be able to maneuver and to be able, like, to be legal, And when you look at they used to, when I used to be in Kenya, before I came in here, I always asked myself, I didn't know so many people who had come to the US, but I knew just a few. But those people had never gone back home. They had stayed, and they had never gone back home. And I always asked my question, what is there in America that people go and they don't want to come back? And it took me a while before I knew the answer. But one time I was just talking to a friend, and then she was like, the only way or the best way to know if a person is legal is if they have ever gone home. Because you find that sometimes someone has passed away, and you know, like us Africans, the way, like if something is dead or deceased, like we just want to be there. Weddings, we want to be there. Dowries, we want to be there. Like all those phases of life that we celebrate, because we have so many celebrations in Africa. Everybody wants to be part and parcel, but I always asked myself, when people come to America, does it change, or why don't they want to go back home? And then when I came here and I settled and I talked to people, then I found out that if you see that someone, maybe a parent has passed away, they were not able to go back, they just sent money, or anything, a major thing happened in the family and they were not able to come, that means that they don't have the right documentation for them to be able to go back home. But that is not the point that I want to talk about, because what I know is that your life is carved out the way it's gonna turn out. It's carved out in a way, like there is a way that God has made it that you're gonna turn out. I'm trying to change the lane here, and I don't know if these drivers are gonna give me, oh gosh, I have to go and stop over there and then pass. So good, I was able to go. It's very, 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 you have to be very, very, very careful, especially when you are going to work, or when you to look at the road and focus on the road. And that's why when I do my videos, I don't look at my camera, I look at the road. So you can only hear my voice and see what's going on the road, but I don't look at my camera because I would never want to be distracted. So I was talking about most people who write to me. I get so many emails, I get so many messages, so many DMs, and sometimes I don't even know what to say. And I saw another comment somewhere that someone was saying that people, when they come to the US, they forget, and sometimes they don't even bring the whole lot to come and live here, which is not true. I wouldn't say that is true, because, and I like to give my own examples. I do remember I had friends when I was in Kenya, very, very many friends. And when I was graduating to become an LPN, that was a few years ago, I did invite a friend of mine. I sent her the invitation, and she did everything. She filled out all the paperwork, she booked an appointment, and she was ready to come. I do remember seeing her post. She had posted that, like the post, when I read it, like it was a very positive post, and she knew that she was going to be given the visa. But when she went to the embassy, they didn't give her the visa. And I was heartbroken. Because, when you go to start processing, let's assume you are starting with the passport and everything, you find that you spend a lot of money. And of course, when you go for your visa interview and they don't refund back your money, they just, that money is lost in like 5 minutes. Because you find, the people who have gone to the American embassy, that those interviews last like less than 2 minutes and you're out of there. Less than 2 minutes. The consular doesn't interview like 30 minutes or whatever. No. It takes like 2 minutes. Even for us, when we went for our DV lottery, our interview did not even last 5 minutes. It takes a very, 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 it's a fraction of time, and you are either denied or you're not denied. And I really felt bad about that. And I also had invited my mom when I had my third child to come and see the baby. The African way, when a new baby has been born, like the grandparents want her to come and see the baby, and all that. So I did invite her, and that was my reason. She should come and see the new baby, but she didn't get it, and I was so disappointed. I was very, 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 very disappointed. And but I thank God that the second time that she was coming in to my graduation, because she came to my graduation, the second time that she was coming in, she was given. So it's something that I have tried. And So that's the little thing that I know about the challenge that you can face, especially when you are being invited and you don't get it. Some people get it and some people do not get it. It doesn't matter. But let's assume that you have been invited and you have passed through the interview and you have paid for your air ticket and you have come to the US. Now, states are different. Let me tell you guys, states are very, very, very different. Like all the states, they are very different, and they have different way of the way they do things. So let's assume I invited you to come and live in Kansas. Your visa is gonna be you are here as a visitor. So it takes a lot of, I don't even know what I can say, but it's very, very hard for me to be able or to help you so that you can be like the way I have a green card. It takes time, it takes years, it takes forever. Sometimes you have to involve a lawyer for you to be able to, and you know, like these things are complex. But although you can come in as a visitor and then you decide to go to school and you get a student visa, which is good, but when you get a student visa, you find that there are some people who have lived here for 30 years, whatever years, but they're still going to school. They have done masters, I don't know, they have so many degrees. But then when you look at the idea behind getting all those degrees, it is not that they want to, it's because someone wants to stay in status. Because the moment you stop going to school, then you lose your status because you came in as a student, you know. And when you come in as a foreign student and you still want to go to school, because you do not get any help to pay for your school fees, it's on your own to do your own thing. You find that there is no way that you want to apply for a degree and they say that they are not going to accept you. They will accept you because it's all about business. That's how I see it. It's all about business. And it is what it is. And I have seen people coming and becoming very, very frustrated. I know there are states that you can go and it's a little bit different. And I don't like talking about those states because I have never lived there. I like to talk about where I am living right now. So where I'm living right now, for you to get a job with a visitor's visa, it's going to be very, very hard. It's hard, guys. Like, it's so hard for you to be able to get a job. So if you had come in, let's assume I had invited you and your hopes was like, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to do all that, you might get frustrated. And I've seen people come in and they have lived, maybe you stay in a person's house, you live in the basement for a long time, and then you end up not being friends, you end up like being the first enemies because the expectations that you had when you were coming in were not met. And that's why I always encourage people fill out the DV lottery, because you never know where your luck is. You never know where your luck is. You do not know where you know, like one day you just wake up and your life has changed, like ours changed. And that's why I always encourage people, fill out the DV lottery. You never know. And when you're filling it out, if you have a family, fill out and have your spouse fill out for themselves. Like fill out, include your spouse and your kids, and have your spouse fill out, include you and include the kids. That's very, 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 very important for you to do that. Because if you do not do that, then you don't have many chances of winning. That's why, like, my thing is that I talk about DV lottery, like, because I know that if right now we lived in Kenya, our life would not be where it is right now. It would not. And I know it took the great, I normally tell you guys very, very honestly, if we were supposed to be handpicked by individuals, not by God, because God works in mysterious ways. If we were to be handpicked, we were the last people who would have come to the US. Because I had a very, very difficult childhood, like a very, oh gosh. If I started from day one, I had a very difficult childhood. And then when I finished high school, I also faced like so many challenges. Very, very, very many hard challenges. And then all of a sudden this thing came, and life changed, and here we are. And I talk about the DV lottery and all that. But the thing is, when you're coming in, do research and know where you can get help. Like right now, if you watch the news very, very well, like we have the people from South America that, everybody wants to come to America, guys. I am not going to lie to you. Everybody wants to come to America. Like it is the most, it's the place with the highest percentage of people who crave to come to live in this country. But I've watched in the news, seeing people come from South America. They come in through a different state, and then that state doesn't want them, so they put them in a bus, they take them to another different state, and those people are in the street. You don't want to end up like that. Because if nobody can give you a job because you don't have the right documentation, then you are done. Because, as human beings, we want to be independent. We want to be, we want to have a way of living. But if you don't have that way of living, then it becomes very, very, very difficult. And even if you get a job, let's assume that you came in and you got a job, yes? However you got it, hypothetically, let me say that hypothetically, that you got a job, you find that the person who is going to give you a job is not going to pay you as the way a person who has a legal standard is being paid, especially if you're working under the table. Oh, they will exploit you. Oh gosh, they're just going to exploit you like really bad. You will never know that you're being exploited, but it is what it is. They're going to exploit you. Because you don't have, and then you find that you are going to work, you are limited because you can only work for that person, and it's going to be hard for you to go and work somewhere else, because if you go to work somewhere else, then you will need for that employer to go some further steps for them to be able to accommodate you. So when you're coming in, and I don't discourage people from coming, but when you're coming in, you have to know at the back of your mind, this is what I'm going to get. Especially if you don't come with the right documentation. You want to come and stay or whatever. You have to know at the back of your mind that you cannot enjoy you cannot classify yourself, or you cannot be the same as that person who came in with a DV lottery. Like, you cannot. Like, that's not going to happen. Sometimes I like to watch things, and there was a time that I was just watching, and then I saw this person had come to live here, and then you hear that person already has their own house, that person already has 1, 2, 3. It takes time to buy a house here in the US, guys. You're not just gonna come in and 5 months into unless you are very, very rich, 5 months into living here, you have your own house. No, you're gonna stay in an apartment. Because even us, it took the grace of God for us to be able to buy our own house. Because we did stay in an apartment for 6 months before we were able to buy our own house. And the only way that we were able to buy a house, because from the apartment we just went to our house, is because Francis was working extremely hard. He was working extremely hard. So, depending on what he was making, and so they looked at that, and then they were like, these people can be able to pay the mortgage, because that's what they look at. And I think I normally say that the hand of God has been upon us, because some of the things that have happened to us are extraordinary. They're just extraordinary things that we thank God for. This is the place that I normally tell you that you come and eat for free. If you don't have food in your house, you can come there, even with your family members, and you eat there for free. It's called the Lord's Diner. So the people who are just walking around, they're going to eat. It's 6:33, so they're going for dinner. So, when you're coming in, please know at the back of your mind that there are challenges that you can face. Very, very hard challenges. I've seen people, even they have come here and they have run their mouth, they have done so many things, and then at the end of the day, you find that person has gone back home. You know, I know several people who had lived here for a long time. They had lived here for more than, when we were coming in, they had lived here for 15 years, 20 years. So they were counting. I've been here for 15 years, for 20 years. And I do remember this one lady. She was given days. You know, because you keep on, when you are applying for your status to be adjusted or whatever, that process, it can be very stressful. So I do remember at that lady, she was given 60 days to go back home. So they tell you in a good way. They tell you, especially if they're not going to give you the legal papers, they tell you, you have these days for you to go back home. And I do remember that lady going back home. She went back home. And I still know another one. And I don't know her story very, very well, but it puzzles me because she had been here, and I always thought that she had a green card. And then, because she was even able to bring her kids. And then, all of a sudden, I think she went to renew. I don't know if she went to renew or she went, whatever she went to do. Because it's very hard. People don't say whether they have the right papers or they don't. Because, you know, it's a secret. You can never know who has them or who doesn't have them. It's very, very hard. You will never know. So you can always speculate. And you see that this person has lived here for like 20 years. They've never gone home. And then you start filling out those gaps. But you can never know. So that lady, yeah, like even when I was seeing her, you know, and looking at her, I always like admired her and everything. And then all of a sudden, I heard that she had gone back home. And then I was like, oh, how come she went back home? And then it's when like you realize that person, and they were not in the right status, but they had been given days to go back. And when you're given days to go back, you have to go back because they have spotted you, and they know. So they're gonna, if you ever like find yourself in trouble and you had been given days to go back, then they normally have to arrest you because they gave you the ultimatum but you did not follow it. That's what happened. Because it's good to talk, you know. It's good to talk. I like to talk about these things because sometimes you're not going to find all this information out there. That is for someone who wants to come in with a different way, not a developer. You have to know these expectations and know that there can be challenges. And even when you're leaving, you tell your family members that there can be challenges. How many people are we seeing even going to Canada and you are expecting that person has gone to Canada and it's a greener pastures and it's good, and then when they get there, they are even living in the street? It's because if without the right documentation, nobody is going to look at you. You know, I do remember when we came in, we never used to have a car. And I used to go and get my Christine from school. She was going to school for 3 hours. So what I would do, I would go if I had a ride, or maybe Francis would come and give me a ride, because he was going to work and I wasn't going to work because I had to watch the kids. And then I would go and stay in the school compound and wait for, oh gosh, you know, sometimes I think about it right now and I'm like, oh goodness, like I was so naive, because I used to go and just sit in the playground for 3 hours, wait for her to finish school, and then I would carry her on my back. I used to carry a leso, you know, a leso. I would carry her on my back and we would walk for, oh my gosh, for more than 1 hour and some minutes. And you're passing all these cars, and here you find that nobody can give you a ride. It's not like Africa whereby, you know, like so-and-so has got a car and when they meet you on the road, they're going to give you a ride. No. It's very, very different, guys. So, it can be challenging. And you have to know these things. Because if you don't know them, then you come in with a certain expectation, and then that expectation fails, and then you start blaming people. Or you have to know. You really have to know that, yes, I am going, and this is the way I am going. This is the challenges that I can meet, because they are there. Those challenges are going to be there, guys. But all hope is not lost. If you get a chance to come, Oh, you come and face the challenges when you are inside, you know. You come, but you have to know that you can face challenges that can be heartbreaking. But if you're able to come, you have that chance of coming, then you better do it. You better come and pray hard, you know, pray hard to God that God is going to help you. So I wanted to talk about that, and just so that you can know at the back of your mind, yes, you have come in. What challenges can you face, especially if you did not come in the DV lottery? Very, very, very important, guys. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm getting into work at 7. It's 6:39 p.m. right now. I like to be early, so in 10 minutes to, or maybe like the 12 minutes to time, I will be there at work. So guys, I wish you all the best in whatever that you're doing. I wish you all the best as we plan, prepare, you know, to check for the DV lottery in May. Thank you and God bless you.